All right, welcome back. I believe I worked harder during my time off. I'm going to need a vacation from my vacation. There's one back area of the basement that we use for storage, which had gotten built up to the point where it's like, okay, I got to clean it out. So we rented a dumpster and been throwing things away. And if I sound a bit rough, that's why. Been breathing in some of that storage dust, and it's made my throat a bit sore. I'm a big advocate of keeping your space clean, even the rooms you use for storage. If it gets to the point where it's difficult to store anything else, then you really need to clean it out. So that's how I spent my Christmas. I hope yours was much better, but you have to do things when you can get them done. There's also something I need to go over real quick with the laws of riches. A lot of people did not receive their Week 2 lesson. It didn't go out as scheduled. Now, Gumroad claims that this is because Gmail's servers went down for a couple hours right when the lesson was scheduled to go out. And I can't say that that isn't the case because every email address so far has been a Gmail address. So until I see otherwise, I have to accept their reasoning. If you are one of the people who did not receive your lesson 2, let me know. Either send me a PM on Facebook or Twitter, or better yet, send me an email. And no, I'm not giving out my email here. It should be included with your purchase. Let me know and I will manually send your lesson 2 to you. Week 3 went out as scheduled, so hopefully Gumroad is correct in it being just a temporary Gmail error and not an ongoing thing. If it happens again, let me know that as well. But if you are one of the people who were affected by this, let me know and I will take care of you. So we're at the 8-year anniversary of this channel, which started on December 31st, 2012. And we're going to wrap up 2020 with a mailbag. Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to be particularly thrilled with that prospect, but I maintain that some of the best information is found within the mailbags. You just have to be willing to learn from what other people are asking, rather than being absorbed in your own self-interest. Like this particular gentleman who writes, imagine not making any YouTube videos other than mailbags and adverts, which he posted on a video about neither. The Magic Squares and Planetary Seals video was neither a mailbag nor an advert. So because of that, I'm going to ban him for being a wise guy, but I do it with love. I have this rule about banning people who are both disrespectful and not knowing what they're talking about. And I went over all that in another video. So if I make an exception for him, I got to make an exception for everyone. And it turns into this whole thing. So I'm going to have to let him go. But I will respond to it first. My schedule is not a secret. I do my best to put out a video per week. If I had the time, I would put out more, but I'm stretched thin as it is. So I try to be consistent with a video per week. That equates to 4 videos a month. Of those 4 videos, one of them is going to be Patreon exclusive. Those are your Thothlight videos, because I am contractually obligated to do so. So 1/4 of the content is going to be on Patreon and Subscribestar. Now, the second of those 4 videos is going to be a mailbag. I try to do a mailbag per month. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, but it is on the schedule as such. The third video would be a mystery school video, which could be on any number of topics, anything from the astrology series that we've been going through to any number of topics on magic and the occult. And then the 4th video would be an occult in plain sight video, at least on paper, or how it's scheduled. It doesn't always work out that way, and if not, then it's usually another mystery school video. And that is the Mind and Magic schedule, at least on paper. If you feel you're only getting mailbags, well, maybe you're coming around only that 1 week of the month where I'm doing the mailbag. You're certainly not at Patreon or Subscribestar, otherwise you would never have made that comment. Okay, so appreciate the comment, enjoy your band. Will you ever make a program on Enochian magic? Well, I never like to say never, and I never like to say ever, because things can always change. I can say this much, there are no plans for an Enochian magic program at this time. The reason being, and my concern with it would be, that Enochian magic may be a little steep for some people. It's certainly not the shallow end of the pool. And if I put out a program on it, then people would be like, oh, I could just jump right into Enochian magic and just dive right into the deep end of the pool without knowing how to swim. That's not to say that my programs are elementary. There are advanced things within my programs. The entire course of Kabbalah, Magick, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher, which takes many years to get through and complete. That entire curriculum, that entire course, is designed to prepare you to perform Enochian magic and spirit evocation by proxy. In each of the elemental grades, you're working with the Enochian elemental tablet that corresponds with that grade. And then in the grade of portal, you get the tablet of union and you bring it all together. And then you are ready to start learning and practicing Enochian magic. In my experience, it's not something that one just jumps into. As well as I explain things, 1 hour of listening to me in a program does not equate to several years of practice and study. Now, does that mean I'll never put out anything on Enochian magic or ever talk about it? No. But as it stands at this moment, if you really want to learn Enochian magic and ease into it the correct way, I recommend getting Liam Thomas Christopher's book, Kabbalah, Magick, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher. And that will put you on the correct path. And for those not willing to put in the 4 or 5 years needed to complete the curriculum, you should probably stay away from Enochian magic altogether. There are other types of magic that you can do. And thanks for the question. Hey, what's your perspective on the conjunction? And this is referring to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that's going on. I'm not a fan of it. Look, the planets are enemies. What do enemies do when they meet? They usually fight. What happens when Satan and Jesus meet? Satan, Saturn, Jesus. Jupiter and Saturn are polar opposites in many respects. You have the planet of expansion and you have the planet of contraction. So in many ways, they're going to cancel each other out. I had someone ask me, what is the best way to harness the power of the conjunction for my planetary magic? And I told him there's probably better planet combinations you can use. Let's see what the 7 Planetary Powers program has to say about it. Here we have the keywords for both Saturn and Jupiter. Do you want to banish abundance, bind defenses, decrease your faith, limit growth, repel opportunities, restrict your wealth, increase your workload? If that sounds good to you, then it's a great time to do magic involving Jupiter and Saturn during this conjunction. Jupiter and Saturn are always at odds with one another, so I expect things to just fight and stall out where they're concerned. I think the conjunction only comes around like once every 20 years or so, which is honestly the biggest deal about it in my learned opinion. And I appreciate the question. Thanks. Now, I don't have the screenshot offhand. Things do get buried rather quickly in my inbox, but I had made a note that that's a good question. I need to answer that one, where someone had asked, if the LBRP is banishing, then why do we perform it clockwise? Shouldn't we perform it counterclockwise? And it's a good question because it shows that they're thinking. They want to understand the reasons why behind things, which is a good thing. The reason you're having difficulty wrapping your mind around it is because the title is misleading. The LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, is really telling you why you're doing it instead of telling you how you're doing it. So ignore the word banishing. Let's just call it the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram for the moment. Instead of banishing and summoning, I want you to think in terms of manifesting and demanifesting. And if you've seen the Sunwise and Witterson's video, where I go into how the circle is actually a blueprint for manifestation, and depending on which direction you are circumventing it, you are symbolically manifesting or demanifesting. So by going clockwise, you're manifesting. So what are you manifesting in the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram? The pentagrams. You are manifesting the astral pentagrams around you, around your circle, as a barrier of protection against low-level spirits and elementals. So it's less of a banishing ritual and more of a ward spell. That's why the title is a bit misleading. You're really putting up a wall to keep things out rather than commanding them to go away. In fact, by performing the LBRP, you may attract more things to you than you would otherwise because it lights up the astral when you perform it. And things that wouldn't have seen you otherwise can now find you and are drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Now they can't get past the barrier, but they're drawn to the barrier, to the pentagrams, which is why if you begin doing the LBRP, you need to continue doing the LBRP so that you keep that ward, that barrier up. Does that make sense? And I do appreciate the question, whoever had asked that one. Perhaps I'll find the comment before I edit this video, or perhaps not, but it was a good question, and I do thank you for it. And that will be about it for today and 2020. I want to thank you all for your continuing support. We've got a lot more to come in 2021. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The social media links will be on the screen shortly. Be sure to visit the Teespring store. It's the last opportunity to save at 20% off. And also save up to 25% on my programs over at Gumroad, but time is running out. You may have a few hours left. Once again, this is Frater Xavier. Thanking you for listening and wishing you a happy new year. Take care.